All right, you guys. This is the first lecture for Chapter 6. Chapter 6 is titled Interpretation of Medication Labels and Orders. It begins on page 147. So with these lectures, you should have already reviewed your PowerPoint, read your lecture notes, and you have read the book. All right. So this lecture here is me just going through the process of solving the problems and explaining just a few items. So for instance, I want you guys to go ahead and pull out your chapter 6 lecture notes. And one of the things that I want you guys to look at is that when it comes to the 10 components of a prescription, again, a prescription is one that is written by the doctor and is either called into the pharmacy or it's given to the patient to take to a pharmacy. And what I mean by this particular pharmacy is an outpatient pharmacy, such as CVS, Walgreens, or so on. But one of the components, component number 5, it says SID codes. All right. A SID code is just basically shorthand written instructions that the physician has written on the prescription for interpretation and transcribing by the pharmacy department. So when you receive a prescription, you will see a SID code written as example 1TPOBID. Well, your book specifies interpretation and label instructions. So when it comes to interpretation of a prescription, in this case, I'm just interpreting the SID codes. Well, I read this SID code to say 1 tablet by mouth twice a day. That is what your book means by prescription interpretation. All right? But when it comes to label instructions, when you have to translate this SID code that you have interpreted, translate it into instructions for the patient to read, you have to follow the format as you need to provide a verb, a dose form, route of administration, frequency, and any additional information. So when I translate this SID code for a patient's label instructions, I will type out their instructions to read: take 1 tablet by mouth twice a day. Well, I have provided you with the verb, that's take. I have provided you with the dose, that's 1. I have provided you with the dose form of tablet. I have provided you with the route of administration, which is by mouth. I have provided you the frequency, which is twice a day. Every label instruction, regardless of how the SID code comes to you, you have got to put it in a complete sentence format. All right? Doctors will never put a verb on a prescription. It is your responsibility as a pharmacy technician to put a verb on a prescription. So for an example, if it's a child, you should say give. That is the verb that you would use for a child, give. And with children, we're talking 12 and under. If it's a suppository medication, you're going to say unwrap and insert. Yes, I know you're wondering, why do I need to say unwrap and insert? Because you have got to think of it this way. Everybody does not have a flower growing in their common sense bed. So you have got to include every instruction. So for suppository, it must read unwrap and insert. For eye drops and eardrops, you must say place place, the verb must be used. Place or instill. A lot of people don't know what instill means, so I use the verb place. Place however many drops into whatever it's an eye, ear, both eyes, both ears, left eye, right eye, whatever the case may be. If it's a nasal spray, you will say inhale. However many sprays in each nostril. Whatever you do to one nostril, you have to do to the other. If it's an inhaler, you have to say inhale however many puffs. Alright, inhale however many puffs. Even for a nasal spray, you can even tell them to use however many sprays. But for an inhaler, you must say inhale, because they're going to inhale through their mouth so that their lungs can contract and get every last bit of that mist of that inhaler. Some inhalers come in puff, not only a mist form but a puff form. They need to get every last bit of that form within their lungs. For injectable medication, you will say inject however many milliliters. That is what it will read. Inject however many milliliters. Alright? We're going to do more prescription interpretation and label instructions as I go further through the chapter. But the next component I want you guys to look at within your lecture notes, it talks about DEA numbers. DEA numbers are required on all control medications, regardless of what type of control, regardless if it's a C2, C3, C4, C5, DEA numbers are required on all control medications. So, DEA numbers, it comes in the following format. It has 2 letters. The first letter is either an A or B. There are other letters, but right now you guys are only going to learn about either A or B as the first letter. The first letter of a DEA number identifies the level of that practitioner. So for instance, A and B identifies if it's a gynecologist, a surgeon, an MD, whatever the case may be. Those are high level physicians, practitioner physicians. So an A and B is very important. Now, nurse practitioners, they get a DEA number, but their first letter is not an A or a B. Their first letter is an M. Right now, you guys are only going to be learning about the first letter being an A or B. The second letter is always the first letter of the doctor's last name. Alright, the second letter of the DEA number is always the doctor's last name. And followed by these 2 letters, you're going to have 7 digits. It's followed by 7 digits. So, I'll give you an example. Let's use the Dr. Edward Spencer. We're going to use the first letter B. The second letter should be the first letter of his last name, so it should be an S. And it's going to be followed by 7 digits. So I'm going to use 532068. And the 7th digit could be a 4. Alright? Well, even though the first 2 letters match the DEA format, well, you guys are now going to learn that the first 6 digits, all right, use a calculation format to match the 7th digit. So, let's go ahead and learn that real quickly. What I want you guys to do is I want you to number your digits 1 through 6. So, number the first 6 digits. And what you're going to do with that is that you are going to first take all of the digits within the odd placement and add those together. So within the odd placement of 1, you have a 5. So you're going to take that digit. In the odd place of 3, you have a what? A 2. You're going to add that digit. And in the odd place, the next odd placement of 5 is what? You have a 6. So you're going to add those digits together. 5 plus 2 plus 6 is 13. You're going to do the same thing for your even placement. So on the even placement of 2, you have a 3. In the even placement of 4, you have a what? A 0. And in the even placement of 6, you have an 8. You're going to add those together. So 3 plus 0 plus 8 is 11. With that even placement of digits, you're going to take that total and multiply it by 2. So 11 times 2 is 22. And you're going to add the two totals together. You're going to add these two totals together. 22 plus 13. 22 plus 13 is what? 35. That second digit within that new total should match the 7th digit. If it doesn't, that means what? The DEA number is invalid. So instead of that 7th digit being a 4, it should be a 5. That 7th digit should be a 5 instead of a 4. If the DEA number was BS532065, then that means what? The DEA number is correct. This is the end of the first recording for Chapter 6 lecture. We will move on to the second in a few minutes.